Hi everyone, it's Agnieszka Murdoch from 5 Minute Language. Welcome to my channel. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and give this video a thumbs up. So today's video is about how to learn more quickly. So normally I make videos about language learning on this channel, but this particular video will apply to anything. So whatever it is that you're learning, you will be able to use those tips and apply them to your own learning and hopefully to make progress more quickly. So my first tip is teach somebody else. So this is scientifically proven that if you take your own learning and if you try to teach it to somebody else, you will be more successful because you will be able to solidify the knowledge in your memory more quickly. Tip number 2 is use the Pomodoro technique. If you haven't heard about the Pomodoro technique, essentially what it is it's timing yourself and focusing on learning for a very short, intense period of time and then taking a little break to then restart the whole process again. So usually a Pomodoro involves 25 minutes, so you set the timer to 25 minutes, you do some intense learning during that time, and then you take a 5-minute break, and then you restart the whole process. So when you use the Pomodoro technique, you are actually much more focused and your learning is more intense because you don't just sit down and decide to learn for an undetermined amount of time. You set yourself a target and you try to accomplish as much as possible within that target timeline. Tip number 3 is use a variety of learning materials. So I'm going to give you an example linked to language learning, but if you're learning something else, obviously you can adapt it as well. So if you're learning a foreign language, you can use 3 different types of materials to look up the same thing. So for example, you're learning 5 new words. I would really encourage you to check each of these words in 3 different dictionaries. There's plenty of dictionaries online now, so you can just Google them and then look up the word in 3 different sources. The reason I encourage you to do that is because when you do it 3 times, you see the word again and again, but you also see a lot more different examples of how it's used and a lot more explanations of why it's used in a certain way. So sometimes you might see one explanation of something and it won't really make sense to you. So you will move on and you're more likely to kind of like forget the word. Whereas if you look it up in 3 different places, you are more likely to find an explanation that actually makes sense to you, but also works for your kind of particular style of learning. So by diversifying your learning materials, you will increase your chances of success. Tip number 4 is take notes by hand. Typing is quite a mindless activity because it's really quick and you type something up very quickly without often really thinking about it. And we're so used to typing on keyboards now that when we actually take a pen and paper, we tell our brain that we're doing something different. So our brain is not maybe doing it as mindlessly as it would if we were typing. So when you're taking notes on paper, it will actually improve your concentration. The whole process of recording your learning will be stretched out a little bit. It will take you longer, but that will mean that your brain is exposed to that information for a little bit longer as well, which will help you learn more quickly. So tip number 5 is use spaced repetition. And that's something I've mentioned in my previous videos before. I'm going to link the main video I have about this technique, so make sure you check it out. But essentially when you use spaced repetition, you're increasing your chances of success and you're also learning more quickly because you know exactly what to focus on, what is challenging for you, and what you can actually put aside because you've already familiarized yourself with it. So my final tip is put your learning into practice straight away. So often we have a tendency to learn a lot and acquire a lot of theory and then only put it into practice when we have an opportunity. But I definitely encourage you to create those opportunities for yourself. So for example, if you're learning a new language, make sure that every word you learn you put into practice straight away. You can even talk to yourself or do a little presentation in front of a camera and record yourself. Try to make up sentences using that word. If you're learning to code, you learn a concept and then you can put it into practice straight away by building a very simple page or a component on the page. If you're learning to play the piano, you can play a simple tune straight away once you've kind of acquired a little bit of theory. So these are the 6 tips that I wanted to share with you for learning more quickly. I definitely encourage you to try them out and let me know in the comments below what your main tips are for learning something quickly. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time. Bye!